What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here at DataDash, and today is August 2nd of 2020. Well, folks, I hope you are having a fantastic day wherever you are, and in today's video, I not only want to talk about the crazy bull rally that we've been seeing here over the last few weeks as Bitcoin has teetered back up towards 12,000, Ethereum about $400, and many other cryptocurrencies continuing to shine. But at the same time, we experienced a massive short-term flash crash today, and I want to go ahead and explain what actually happened here and talk about whether or not this actually fundamentally will alter the cycle in any way. All right, so anyways, we've got lots of things to discuss right after our quick sponsor. Our sponsor for today's episode is Ledn.io. For those of you holding Bitcoin and digital assets long-term like myself, why not put it to work? Ledn works with Genesis, the most established institution in digital assets, to give its retail clients access to a suite of institutional-grade services to manage their digital wealth. Their savings accounts let you earn up some of the best risk-adjusted rates on your digital assets, such as 10% on USDC and 6.5% on your Bitcoin. Their B2X loan service allows you to double the amount of Bitcoin you own through a Bitcoin-backed loan. And if you sign up today, you can get over 250,000 Satoshi bonus if you register with the link below to get a loan today. Alrighty, everyone. So I want to go ahead and dive straight into it here. Whether or not you're really caught up in the optimism that we've seen in the market or the short-term move that we just had over the last few hours, I want to go ahead and just showcase that over the last 24 hours, things have been relatively decent here, right? Again, we still have the majority of cryptos per se teetering slightly red, but at the same time, most of them are in a no-trend scenario. Now, taking a look here, we're going to have to look at a few different time frames here. I don't want one side or the other to completely consume us in this case. I want to start off clearly by saying that the cycle so far, as we've broken out above the line of resistance, the historic line of resistance that weighed down price all the way since back here of 2017, where we have finally not only on the daily, but on the weekly, closed above this line, very clearly signals, along with the volume here, that things are turning optimistic, that we have kicked off the next part of this cycle here. I mean, we started really the new cycle back in December of 2018. A lot of people don't really realize this, so they don't like to view it this way. But really, we kicked off the next cycle. We had the full 80% correction. We set in consistent lower highs. We built in a long-term wedge. And now we're getting into the momentum part where we start to get back up towards 20,000. And then you have the parabolic rally. That is where we go from 20K to maybe 100K, whatever it may be. So all in all, this is exactly what we wanted to see here after months of sideways consolidation. And I want to say hats off to everyone who's been patient and waited on this. The same goes for gold and silver or cryptocurrencies and altcoins broadly. We have been consistently shouting this through the roof, and it's finally come to pay back. Now, I want to go ahead and talk about the shorter time frames here, and we're actually going to go all the way from the weekly down to a time frame as short as the 5-minute chart, because this is what is consuming so many people's minds. And that was when we tapped up towards 12,000, a very big even level here, right? Went slightly above 12,000 here. And then after that, came down and saw basically, I think it was nearly like an 18% correction. I'll go ahead and draw it here on the chart. Oh no, sorry, apologies, only 12. I know what I was thinking of. I was thinking of Ethereum's price action. So Ethereum had nearly about a 20% correction. It was around 18%. All in all, though, right, Bitcoin pulls back nearly 13% here. A lot of people panic and think that, okay, this is just a fake out rally that we've seen over the last few weeks, and that the whales are dumping, that this is going back to 6 or 7K. Don't get too worried, guys, in regards to these kind of moves. In fact, we actually recovered a lot of that, and we're setting a higher base here, as we can see here on the 5-minute candles, right? So what happened here? What can lead price so dramatically after a nice, kind of steady multi-day uptrend here, right? How can we wipe out, going here to the hourly just to kind of get perspective, how can we come down all the way to a price we hadn't seen in about basically 5 days, right? How does this happen? Well, this was basically, as it happens many times in crypto markets, a coordinated attack on the cryptocurrency space that happens time and time again due to a very big dilemma with where the volume is in cryptocurrency markets, where the trading is happening. So we've talked about this before, but I'm going to try to break it down in simple terms. I've got to talk a bit in the technical terms, and I'm going to make it very simple. So there's been a dilemma in the cryptocurrency space during the bear market, and if you want to call this the bull market, same exact problem is still persistent, where the vast majority of trading or liquidity is circulating in derivatives platforms, or you might have heard of the term margin trading, where people are basically borrowing capital from these exchanges or these liquidity providers And they're going out and taking excessive risk on their already pretty volatile crypto positions, as if Bitcoin wasn't already giving enough, going from 9,000 to 12,000 here in the course of just a couple of weeks. That's not enough for some people. Sometimes people have to go 2x margin, 3x margin, 5x margin, 10x margin, and to the very unhealthy levels that I can't believe platforms offer around 50 to 100x margins. So just put that in context here. Let's just say you did a 10x margin position. That means if Bitcoin, let's say you put a Bitcoin in, right? If you take a 10x margin position, if Bitcoin goes down 10%, you lose everything, right? That's the important context to keep in mind. It's what's known as getting liquidated. Your position basically gets knocked out of the market, and the exchange basically covers in this case, right? Now on the other end, if Bitcoin went up 10%, you double your money. Pretty cool. But again, it's that risk that a lot of people don't really take into account, or people get caught up in. Now, just explaining that for those of you who might be new, I know we've got a lot of people coming to the channel, and if you haven't already, consider subscribing. But to build on this definition here, what we've got is a dilemma where the derivatives platforms, or these margin trading platforms, utilize the spot price. Now, the spot price for Bitcoin, right, what we're seeing here on Bitstamp, is the price of Bitcoin on basically average everyday exchanges that you and I would use. Coinbase, Bitstamp, Kraken, Binance, you name it, right? Bitflyer in Japan, right? These are the real liquid exchanges where real price determination happens on Bitcoin. So if you have, let's just say, for example, 1/3 of the volume being on spot market, and along with that as well, 2/3 of the volume, just to keep it very simple, on derivatives platforms where you can take excessive risk and borrow capital very easily, well, what happens there? You build an incentive for people to manipulate the core spot market to spend some of their capital, probably take an initial loss, clearing through the order book one way or the other to the downside or the upside, and on a leverage traded position, liquidate en masse a bunch of positions, and in this case, cause a domino effect where you can make a lot of money shorting Bitcoin in this case. And that's exactly what happened here. Right when everyone was optimistic, right as it was a new paradigm getting to 12K, this was a very well coordinated attack. And we can not only see this as we take a look at the ScalpX index here, we can see some of the liquidations. This doesn't even provide the full picture. Larry Cermak here put a great tweet visualization out during this small, near 5 or 6 minute event. There was over $1.1 billion worth of futures positions or more liquidated. 70,000 traders completely knocked out, lost everything in their positions. Now again, 400 million came out here around OKX, around 400 million on Huobi, and then on BitMEX, around 164 million, Binance 86 million, and Bybit around 52.73 million. This is why I constantly talk about on my channel. I will never in this case go out and try to talk about margin trading. You should not get involved in this. If you want to get involved in margin trading and you want to do decent levels and you know how to do risk management properly, there's platforms like DYDX that allow you to trade Ethereum and a few other different types of cryptos on only at a max level of 5x margin. And that is all you would ever need in crypto, right? But at the same time, right, there's a reason in this case that I constantly hammer the point here that you should not be dealing with leverage trading platforms, okay? So anyways, just wanted to explain that here. Just to explain it, simply put, too long did not read. The basic situation here was that someone had an incentive to clear through the order book to sell a large sum of their Bitcoin, a whale in this case, and take a larger position on a derivatives platform like BitMEX or Bybit or OKX, Huobi, whatever it may be, right? Binance. This is a core problem that will be continuously persistent in the crypto space. But you can see all in all that this really isn't the end of the world. Now, yes, if you bought up here, yes, you'd be down in your position. But the thing I always talk about, take a look at the Look Into Bitcoin's chart. There's a website called Look Into Bitcoin's, lookintobitcoin.com. And there's a chart of profitability. The days of profitability for Bitcoin are well over 98%. Nothing to fret about, guys, right? Now, wanted to talk about some interesting market dynamics here. This obviously has led to a really interesting spike here we saw, ignoring the Bitcoin chart here really. We saw a big spike here in USD Tether. And again, you can see these kind of spikes when there's a massive demand because people are paying a premium for Tether in order to get out of their Bitcoin positions. So this is a really cool market dynamic that I just wanted to explain. Sometimes people see stable coins go to 95 cents or $1.05, or it could be somewhere in that range from its peg at $1. And I think that's always a very interesting dynamic. And you can see the volume picking up here as well during this event. Now, Wanted to also mention Tether's almost at 10 billion. Pretty interesting milestone here. But going on here to talk about the altcoins, I think this is what a lot of people are getting interested in. We've been hitting on the altcoins a lot here. I've been mainly positioned in altcoins. How are things going? Things are still going really well, even though we're again not at the absolute peak from today. All in all here, if you want to take a look at the 30-minute chart here, just seeing the uptrend here, we basically built support on a key level of resistance in the past, and now we're continuing through the rally here on Ethereum. Taking a look at the weekly, it becomes even more clear here. We've broken out of the ascending triangle, a very bullish pattern on a very long-term time frame from over a year ago of resistance, and in this case, we're continuing on the cycle. XRP, we entered in a position here around 2,200 sats, came up here towards 2,600 and a peak here of 2,700. Now, the thing I want to mention here is that we did, again, we're constantly watching here to see what happens here. I took a partial share of my XRP position because I'm really expecting that we're going to consider this as resistance here. But again, we'll watch here to see what happens here. I might wait for a slight pullback and then enter back in, but we know XRP is a beast of its own, so we'll see here. Again, I'm not really long XRP in the long term, but I do know that when you can pop out of this line of resistance that's been building up, we've seen historically, it's not good to bet against it. So now again, I know there's a lot of you who probably want me to look into individual altcoins and the DeFi space in regards to for example, Oracle Solutions and Enterprise Blockchain. We can go ahead and take a look at some of those. So REN, Kyber Network, this is one of the key, and also Bankcoin in this case, right? One of the key indexes here. We've had a nice rebound here in the broader decentralized exchange space, or the what I like to call index. We talked about this in our newsletter here. This is one of the examples of what you can get with the Dash report that is linked down below in the description. But basically, these custom indices that we make, that we can get some analysis on the market here and basically get an idea of where things are going. I think what we're going to see here, even though we've come into the buy zone slightly and we had basically a 40% correction, I apologize, all right, around 40% here, I do believe that it's going to probably extend out further and we'll have a secondary low in here. But outside of that, in regards to the Oracle Solutions, same exact thing here, about a 40% correction, slight rebound here. I really think that we're setting in lower highs here and we're going to come down here and set a lower low. So that's what I'm looking for in regards to altcoins in the short term and some of the categories that we watch and that we've been bullish on. Outside of that though, pretty historic stuff going on in commodity markets as well, guys. This is not just crypto. Gold breaking out to a new monthly close. It's about to close in this case here. For July here. Actually, it really did close out. I apologize. We're going to have the new open here on maybe on the Sunday futures. But all in all, we're very, very close to $2,000 an ounce for gold. Big even level here for gold. Silver setting in a monthly close above resistance. What do you think is going to happen here? What happened last time we broke this resistance? We continued through and we set new all-time highs for silver at $50 an ounce. This momentum is not going to die out. Plain and simple. Might be a pullback, a slight, kind of a park for maybe a week or so, or maybe a couple weeks. All in all though, guys, if you're looking at what assets you want to own for the next 6 months, the next 12 months, the next, 2 to 3 years, these are the markets to be focusing on: precious metals and cryptocurrencies, specifically crypto. The market to scale that's at play here is massive. And again, I really want to emphasize, I've got my capital parked in these markets, guys. I'm heavily invested in cryptocurrencies. I stand by my word. And again, I think you have to put your money where your mouth is. I don't believe that crypto, if you're willing to understand and kind of, take that risk as someone who may be more of a novice investor in this case, as myself, well, I would say as I've been around investing for a while, but even as someone who's again starting to learn and go on that journey of finance, I think the important thing that you have to keep in mind is, what are you looking for in this case? How much time are you willing to dedicate in actually understanding this asset class? Just understanding the simple fact here that I'll always mention at many of the end of my videos, Bitcoin, roughly speaking, is around a $200 billion asset here. This is the market cap here. $200 billion is the total wealth of Bitcoin. A lot of Bitcoin has been lost, if you can consider that into play, right? So the market cap's even lower. But let's just say it's $200 billion. Gold right now, as much as I'm bullish on gold, and I think it's going to keep going up, is well over a $12 to $13 trillion market at these valuations. For gold to double, it needs to go to $24 or $26 trillion. $24 to $26 trillion. Do you think that's going to happen in the next year? Probably not. Could happen. You think Bitcoin can double from 200 billion to 400 billion? Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. It has an absolute chance of doing this. It just needs to go back up slightly above its all-time highs at 20K. But we've seen historically, taking a look at BLX, right? I'm going to go ahead, go to the Brave New Coin Liquid Index. Good thing it's going to actually take us to a longer-term time frame. Just take a look at the monthly here. Right? We've seen this historically with Bitcoin. We've seen multiple parabolic rallies. We know that these are expanding cycles, so we have a longer-term time frame in mind. This isn't going to happen overnight. But the chart is doing exactly what it needs to do. Bitcoin is acting as the asset we need right now, because the macro environment, with the looks of it, is showcasing that the Federal Reserve and other central banks are going to press lower and lower into negative interest rates. They are going to print enormous amounts of money. And that's really the kicker there. The printing of new liquidity into the system, the mass levels of inflation that could lead to if there's a sell-off in equities and that cash starts to dilute into the economy. We've already seen the bad effects. So, anyways, if you can't probably tell by now, I've already rambled enough for today, guys. If you like this video, drop a like. Please consider subscribing and hitting the bell icon. And again, if you want some more detailed analysis on some of these things that we talk about, check out the Dash Report. It's linked down below in the description. It's like, I think, the third headline that we have on there. But all in all, everyone, I want to say thank you all for the continuous support. This has been a phenomenal month, not only for us, I think, as a whole, as investors in the cryptocurrency space and precious metals, but outside of that as well. It's been a breakthrough month for the Dash Report. It's been a breakthrough month for Digifox. Really, really excited to see where things are going here over the next few months. And I just got to say that it's a true privilege, especially at my core, to be able to be a YouTuber in this space and create content for you all. To think that you all like to listen to me day in and day out, or maybe not every day, but from time to time, it really means a lot to me. And I know I don't get to say that all the time, but I just want to thank you all for your constant support. It's a dream job to do this at the end of the day. It's really not even a job. It's something I wake up to every single day to do for you guys. So all in all, I hope you are having a fantastic day wherever you are, and I'll see you all in the next video. Stay tuned.